Have you ever felt like you're just drowning in information? I mean, you scroll through endless articles, posts, videos, and you just wonder, how on earth do you find the real story in all that noise? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a really powerful way to do just that. It's called qualitative data analysis, and it's all about finding the meaning that's hidden in plain sight.
It's a huge question, isn't it? All this raw information, what researchers just call data, it's usually pretty messy, kind of chaotic. On its own, it doesn't really tell you much. So the big question is, how do we get from this jumble of facts and stories to a clear, powerful understanding? How do we find the real insight?
You know, the best way to think about it is like building a puzzle. Imagine just dumping 1,000 pieces onto a table. At first, it's just a complete mess. But then, you start connecting them. You find the patterns, you fit the edges together, and slowly but surely this complete, meaningful picture starts to emerge. That is exactly what data analysis does. It finds those hidden connections to bring order to the chaos.
Okay, so before we can start building our puzzle, we've got to know what kind of pieces we're even working with. And in the world of data, there are really two main families, two very different paths you can take to find answers.
So on one side, you've got quantitative data. This is all about the numbers. It's stuff you can measure, you can compute. It answers questions like how many or what percentage. Think sales figures, right? But on the other path, you have qualitative data, and that's what we're digging into today. This is all about descriptions, meanings, and context. It's the stuff you can observe, but not necessarily measure. And it asks those deeper questions, the why and the how.
So let's head down that qualitative path for a bit. This isn't about spreadsheets and charts, no. This is about the rich, textured world of human experience. You know, the stories we tell, the sounds we hear, and the images we see.
So what does this kind of data actually look like? Well, according to the researcher it got to, it kind of falls into three main buckets. First, you have structured text. This is stuff like writings, stories, maybe even the comments on a survey. Then there's unstructured text, which is often what you get when you write down what people said, you know, transcriptions from interviews or focus groups. And finally, you have media recordings, the actual sounds and sights of our world, captured in audio, video, graphics, you name it.
Okay, so we've collected our interviews, our articles, our videos. We have a mountain of this really rich qualitative data. So now what? Well, this is where the magic really starts to happen. This is the art of interpretation. So, qualitative data analysis. It is so much more than just reading or watching something. It's a really systematic process. As the researcher in Gulube lays it out, it's about actively searching through the data, evaluating it, and then coding it, which is like labeling important ideas. And from there, you can start to describe the patterns and themes that pop out, always with the goal of discovering that deeper, underlying meaning.
And here's the key takeaway. The whole point is to make the unmanageable manageable. It's this process of systematic reduction. You take a huge, overwhelming amount of information and you just distill it. You boil it down to its core components, those essential pieces that are going to directly answer your research questions.
But what are we actually trying to do with all this? What's the end game? Well, a researcher named Mesmer breaks it down into three really clear and powerful goals that guide the whole process, helping us build a truly deep understanding.
What I find so interesting here is how it all builds. So it starts with the first aim, to simply describe. This is about painting a really rich, detailed picture of something, like someone's lived experience. Then, once that's clear, you move on to exploring. Here, you're looking for connections. Why are some experiences similar? What causes different outcomes? And finally, the highest aim of all is to develop a new theory. This is where analyzing all that raw data can actually lead to a brand new, maybe even groundbreaking way of understanding the world. It's so cool.
This quote from Uwe Flick, it just hits the nail on the head. Data analysis is the central step. It's not just some little thing you do at the end. It's the engine of the entire research process. It's that critical moment where raw material gets transformed into real knowledge. Without careful analysis, data is just noise. But with it, it becomes insight.
And that brings us right back to our world, doesn't it? The conversations you overhear, the articles you skim, the videos you watch, it's all data, every bit of it. And it's packed with stories and patterns just waiting to be understood. So the question I'll leave you with is this. What hidden meanings could you uncover if you started looking at the world around you like a qualitative researcher?